Good morning. Good morning. Can everybody hear me and see me? Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Hey, my mom's in the chat, Sandy Morbs. How's everybody doing on this fine morning? Thank you for coming. Hi from Chile. Hello. Hello from New York. I'm in New York right now. I'm in upstate New York. I wish I had my cowboy hat. This light does not need to be on. 1 second. Oh, my goodness. What up, Johnny? Johnny Eastland, director Johnny Eastland in the house with Dylan. They co-directed it together. Wow. You know, I realize this is a funny time to do a Q&A because the video has not been seen yet. So there's really, there's nothing to talk about. Hello, Toronto. Hello, Ireland. Germany. Wow, people from all over. Hello, France. Ohio. I just drove through Ohio 2 days ago. Crazy time to drive through Ohio. England. Hello. Johnny did not direct the Dorothy video. That was my friend Chris Good. What up, Leon? We filmed this at a hotel in sorry, my brain is at half capacity. It's so early. We filmed that at a hotel. Johnny, where's the hotel? Oh, in DeSoto, Kansas. An incredible hotel just called the DeSoto Inn, I believe. Yeah, there we go, DeSoto. And then we also filmed it at a theater called the Foley Theater in downtown Kansas City, which is a very beautiful theater. I saw Gillian Welch play there about 2 years ago. My mom was there with me. So that's where we filmed it, downtown Kansas City in DeSoto, Kansas. Did you pay for the room or did they let you have it for free? Well, that's a great question, Leon. We did pay for the room. We got a couple of rooms. But the main room, they let us redo it. The people who owned it, the woman who owned it, I think her name was Alice, was she's an incredible person. And her husband, I believe, was very cool. He said he was a bodyguard for certain bands in the 80s, for metal bands in the 80s. So he was down with the rock and roll. He's very cool. They were great. You'll see the room. And Johnny, can you remind me who did the styling of the room, what her name was? She was so talented. But the room, they let us go hard on it. They let us put paintings and they let us do Lake Moore. Yeah, she was amazing, production designer. And they let us really do everything we wanted to. And, a big reference for this music video on my end was wanting it to look in the universe of Paris, Texas. And she really got it there. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Bonjour. The connection with the sun, my connection with the sun in the record, moving back to the Midwest, just you can't ignore that big sun in the sky. And I think being out of places like Los Angeles and New York, I was just more attuned with the natural weather going on and the timeline of the day. You're welcome, Philip. Thank you. My musical inspiration for the song, I really don't know, actually. I wasn't drawing from too many musical references for this one. It was more about the space, about, like, in a weird way, like very non-musical references, like just wanting the landscape to be represented in the song, and natural elements. I think if I really had to pull from some influences, I'd say someone like Phil Elverum from the Microphones. Like he's someone who I've always admired, his ability to sort of capture weather and landscapes and put them into his music. And yeah, I was listening to a lot of him around that time. A lot of Bonnie Prince Billy's album "Ease On Down the Road," which I highly recommend. That was a huge influence on this record. Um, yeah, thank you, Martin Gilbert. Thank you. Not really, Sophie. Thank you, though. You know that song. Um, like this one, we wanted to sort of represent elements and represent a landscape, which is why we have the sample of the fire playing. Yeah, absolutely. I love Nebraska, and if you notice the the album titles on the back of the record, it's sort of a homage to Springsteen's Nebraska, with the font. That's one of my favorite albums, and absolutely, it wasn't past me. I think Nebraska is also Bruce Springsteen's sixth album, and this is my sixth album, and it also came out when he was 32, and I'm 32. Um, and he wrote it at home onto a 4-track, which is exactly what I did, and that was definitely an influence. On the inlay of Nebraska, there's him underneath the chandelier, and I realized that I had the same chandelier in my house, which I thought was cool. But yeah, I love that album. How do I compose guitar chords? Sometimes with guitar chords, I have a hard time if I'm playing them, sort of in the traditional way. It'll come off as boring to me, So if I'm playing a D like that, I might not get as much out of it as if I play a D like that. So I don't know what you would call that, but that's one way. This is another way. But I like to play chords in maybe a fashion that is, a little unconventional because it keeps it interesting to me. Do I look so tired? Thank you, Danielle. So many questions. Hold on, I'm trying to go through them all. Thank you, JT. Ashley, Ashley Renee. I think I don't know. I think that something about this record is just that the landscapes were really speaking to me, and when something I really relate to. I read Jeff Tweedy's autobiography a year or two ago, and he said he grew up next to a train yard and with two records in his house. One of was just train sounds, and one was a country record, and something like that. And I really relate to the sentiment of being influenced by non-musical entities feeling musical, and I was really trying to represent that on this record, and it's something I've tried to do on all my albums, but especially with this one. And I don't know, it sounds cheesy to say, but if you put your ear to the ground in this world, I think anything can be musical. Anything can evoke a similar emotion that music does. They're called voicings. Thank you, Leon. Thank you, Leon. See everybody. How come U.S. Mail came out so different from the album? They're both so wonderful, but very different. Leon, because U.S. Mail is so much different than the record because we couldn't get back into the studio because of the lockdown. That was in March. We were supposed to go mix the record and record U.S. Mail. But when we couldn't, we had to do it remotely, so it just naturally sounded different. We did it in Brad Cook's studio in North Carolina and my studio in Kansas, and we did it remotely. He sent me the music, and I just sang over it, so just naturally sounded different. So it became its own thing, which I think is cool. I just did an interview with the USPS for their newsletter. One of the writers reached out to me. It's very cool. Who's my favorite member of the Wu-Tang Clan? Who do you think it is? That's an easy question to answer. This is the third video with Katie. Was her appearance in your late videos before playing? With Katie, it just sort of worked out. You know, something about this record is that it was written during a time where Katie and I were kind of in our own solitude. Over the past 2 years, whenever we'd be off tour, we'd be in Kansas, it was kind of our own quiet solitude. So then when the lockdown went into effect, we found ourselves back in that same exact place of being in solitude and being together. So it only made sense. But not only were we depicting that time that we were together, but also kind of by law, that's all we could do. We couldn't really hire actors, and we were able to have a film crew, but it just felt too risky to have, you know, as the actors in the video, or the people, us being the two people in the video, we were able to take off our masks, but it just felt too risky to have people we didn't know, or to hire people who would then take off their masks. So it just, you know, it was just really meant to be. The subject matter came from a time in our lives when it was the two of us. And, you know, we recorded during this lockdown when it was, again, just the two of us. Treetop Flyers. Hey, Kevin, I fell in love with a girl recently, and this was our song. I voice noted her the lyrics. Please don't run from me, and I won't run from you. Thanks for the gift. Thank you, Reed. Glad you're falling in love. I would love to tour Singapore. Bring me over. Yes, ODB, exactly. ODB, RIP. Landscape is captured so well throughout the album. Being a native Kansan and having traveled all over the country, the Midwest always calls me back. Sundown is the ultimate Midwest nostalgia album. Thank you very much. I agree. I agree to that sentiment. It's a nice place to live. It's a nice place to be. When are you going to release an album of Leonard Cohen covers? I don't think I'll release any sort of cover album until I'm not working on an album of my own. It'd be a little too on the nose for me to release a Leonard Cohen record, don't you think? Can I say French words for France? Yes. Bonjour. Toi. I love France. I love France. I wish I learned another language. I got kicked out of French class in 7th grade for being an asshole. I was a little prick, and I got kicked out of French class, and they just made me sit in the principal's office for the rest of the year during that hour. From Thursday night rodeos to little accessible moments like this, you find ways to stay engaged with your fan base. What's your main motivator right now to stay connected? I don't know. You know, life without tour is very strange. When you tour after working so hard on an album and doing so much press and hard work around it, tour is really how, you know, you reap the rewards of, you know, it's the fruits of your labor. And not having that right now, I'm very thankful to be able to connect with people in any way, you know, and the internet being the sort of foundation to do so. And so it's not ideal, obviously, but I'm grateful. And I also think some things have come of this that I will want to take into the future once everything goes back to normal. Like, I loved filming the Sundowner set. I love having like a visual and a documentation in a setting that I think represents the album. I wish I would have been doing that for all my records. So my main motivator is just to, you know, connect with people, talk to people. We're all holed up and things are only getting worse for the time being. We have to get through this winter, but till then, yeah, it just feels nice to talk to people. Hello, Asia. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm going to have breakfast with Jeremy. Any spot in the Midwest that you suggest visiting for someone who has never been? It's a great question. I would say if you've never been in the Midwest, if you go to House on the Rock in Spring Green, Wisconsin, that's an amazing Midwestern treasure. I highly recommend that. Castle Rock, where we filmed the campfire video, is an amazing Midwestern treasure. So yeah, start there. Hello, Portugal. Wow, this is so great. Thank you very much. First things I do after I wake up, unfortunately, I check my phone. It's so horrible. A lot of times I'll sleep with my phone out of the room. When I'm back at home, I'm at a friend's house right now. I'm doing some recording, but a lot of times, like when I'm at my own house, I keep the phone intentionally out of the room. Usually Katie wakes me up, usually Katie wakes me up and I'm grumpy. She's making coffee. I don't drink coffee. The Paris show, for the record store day, I've just always loved our Paris crowds, our Parisian crowds. They've always been very good to us, and I'd seen a lot of photos of that venue, Cabaret Sauvage, and I just knew I wanted to document the time there. Sundowner, is kind of the complete opposite of Oh My God. It's a small statement compared to this sort of very large. So it's a small, quiet, hush statement versus kind of the opposite thing. And I really love those Oh My God shows just because it's just bombastic and fun, and I just really love my band a lot. But with Sundowner, I would love to be able to take out a small band on the road and like work with natural light. I really love to play shows that are outside and have no natural light, just do it all surrounding a sunset, and kind of have the opposite thing of what we were doing with Oh My God. Thank you, Scotland. Thank you, Gilbert. Russia. I love Russia. I haven't been back to Russia since I was like 20 years old. I would love to go back. I had a crazy time there with Woods way back in the day. Leon, it's weird. It's weird releasing music right now, but honestly, and I'm not just saying this, but the biggest reward is knowing that people get something out of it, because artists are getting less out of things right now. It's fun to have something to work on, but when it goes out into the world, it's kind of over for the artist. And we can do things like this, and that's cool, but it's not, you, like I was saying, you don't get the same reward of being able to go out on the road and sort of basically throw a party in every city across the world for 2 years. So the biggest reward is just knowing that people can consume it and people can love it. I think Kansas City had everything to do with writing this album, Bridget. So I think your environment will influence you no matter what, for better or worse. And my advice to any writer is to write in many different environments. Don't stay in one. Hello from Turkey. I love Turkey. The show in Istanbul was amazing last year, and I will absolutely come back. I'm not kidding. That was my favorite trip I've ever been on. The 4 days I spent in Istanbul really blew my mind, and the show was amazing. The food was incredible. The people were incredible. So I will go back ASAP. It's almost time. I'm really excited for all of you to see this video. We worked very hard on it. Johnny and Dylan, who are in the chat, directed the video. Stars Katie and I once again. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I was really wanting something that, like I was saying earlier in the chat, that was sort of in the same universe as Paris, Texas. And I think we really nailed it. I'm really, really happy with this. And everywhere we shot it was so cool. And my favorite Waxahatchee song is Chapel of Pines. I love that song off of her Great Thunder EP. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. That's a song when Katie and I were on tour, I was like, I think I have a big crush on this girl. Is there a way to record the live show that we recorded for the album? I totally dropped the ball. Cormac, we are going to release that at some point next year, so you can see it then. Somebody tell me what. Oh, sorry. Sorry you don't understand what I'm saying. Lithuania, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Hello to your mom, Leon. Tell her I say hello. What Wonder is about in Wander? Just the sentiment of how was I born into such a world? How did I get here? Okay, I'm gonna get off here in 3 minutes, and then we can all watch the video together. Anything else? Rural Ireland, that sounds beautiful. Hello. What am I grateful for today? That's a great question. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my health and my family's health, my friends' health, and I'm grateful that Donald Trump lost the election. What are you grateful for? Thank you, Benjamin. Why not keep the beard? I don't know. This thing happened when Trump lost and Biden won. I should phrase it as that more. I should say I should get the T word out of my mouth. But when Biden won the election, for some reason, I was just like, I need to shave. I need to go into the bathroom right now and shave. And it wasn't a thing where I was like growing a beard until we got someone, new elected for president. But it was I don't know. It's just a moment. I wanted to be clean. I wanted to be cleaner. Will I make a video on how to use my Tascam, like a YouTube style video? Like, hey, YouTube, it's me, Kevin Morby. Maybe I will. Maybe we'll put it on Instagram or something. 4-track guide for beginners. Just get a manual. It's pretty easy. And there's a guy on YouTube who really makes it pretty easy that I went to a lot. If you just Google like 4-track tips, it'll come right up. How can I be so prolific? I don't know. Every artist is different. And for some people, it just comes quickly, and some people it comes slower. But whatever one's artistic process is, I think, you just follow what feels natural and what feels right. And for me, it's always felt right to write pretty quickly. Hello, Northern Ireland. Your sobriety, that's great, Jesse. Good for you. My favorite song to play off Sundowner is this one. Absolutely. I did this thing recently with this group of kids, this academy of young kids and musicians in Kansas City, and there's these 2 girls called the Bernie Sisters, and this woman, and this other young girl named Blessing, who sang on this song, and it really blew my mind. They did such a great job. So if they're out there somewhere, thank you so much for making my song wonderful. Yes, we will release the 4-track demos at some point. I promise. That and the performance video. My most used emoji is just is the amen, is the prayer. Okay, I wish I had more time for questions, but it looks like it's time. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna end stream, but all of you, I'm gonna stay in the chat. Also, I'll be in the chat. I'll be typing in the chat. But thank you very much for having this little morning with me, and I hope you enjoy the video. Dylan and Johnny, thank you guys. I love you guys. I love you all. And I'll talk to you right now in the chat. Okay.